It is likely to be accomplished through purchase agreements made with partners. This is on top of creation of a $12 billion U.S. strategic reserve. It's meant to counter China's dominance. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It's Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. It's time for the Morning Rundown, which is brought to you every day at this time by our friends at the Glock Store. Glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here's the morning rundown for Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Number one, Nashville Electric Service CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin continues to prevaricate. The facts are actual tree trimming expenses were cut by $7 million in 2024. But when asked about it last night, Broyles-Applin blatantly misled the public by claiming the tree trimming budget has increased for 4 consecutive years. Why is that misleading? Well, she's an accountant. She knows what she's doing on this. Budget is simply planned and approved expenses, but actual expenditures are different. That's what you actually spent. And those expenditures have been far less than what was approved and planned. Tom Pappert and I will talk about this at the bottom of this hour. Number two, the federal budget was signed by President Trump yesterday after a lot of back and forth in the House and the Senate. This means that there's a spending that's been approved for the entire government to the end of September. That's the end of this fiscal year, except there's a 10-day runway for negotiations about Department of Homeland Security expenditures. And, you know, the Democrats are going to try to derail that for sure. Number three, Donald Trump. I love this. He torched, capital T, torched CNN's Caitlin Collins in the Oval Office yesterday, and she well deserved it. Number four, Speaker of the House here in Tennessee, Cam Sexton, and Senator Marsha Blackburn have called for the firing of the Nashville Electric Service Board and the CEO, and I think that's exactly the right thing to do. More on that with Tom Pappert. Number five, the SAVE Act, voter ID. That's a big story in D.C. today. We'll be talking in our next segment with our good friend and legal expert, Phil Klein, about that. Number five, a little change of pace, a little switching gears. In hour two, we're going to be talking about, wait for it, hot yoga. What? Why? Well, those of you in our listening audience of a certain age need to be looking at low-impact exercise, like I've been doing, actually, low impact. For 10 years, I've gone to Kyle Casserly. She's the owner of the Hot Room here in Middle Tennessee. She's an entrepreneur and an expert in yoga, leads a lot of the classes. She's going to be here in the studio. We're going to talk about it. Being an entrepreneur, being a female entrepreneur, and hot yoga. I like it. You'll see. Number six, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in town here in Nashville tomorrow. He's going to talk to the National Cattlemen's Association about the importance of people eating beef and protein. Yeah, there you go. We're going to have an exclusive interview with RFK Jr. Tomorrow. And number seven, if actually we may have a surprise. Scott Walker may join us in hour three, in the second half of hour three. Scott Walker, former governor of Wisconsin, head of the Young America's Foundation. He's here in town to talk about the 250th birthday of America. And then number eight, the best Trump impersonator in the world, the one, the only, Sean Farash will be here in studio for the third hour of the program. Now, that's the morning rundown brought to you, our friends at the Glock Store. You've heard me talk for years about how the Glock Store is everything Glock. And, of course, our good friend, Lanny McGill, the founder and CEO of the Glock Store. You may have heard about the latest Glocks, the Gen 6. Well, Lanny McGill certainly has. Lenny tells me the new Gen 6 Glocks have a new optic system, RTF6 texturing, an enlarged beaver tail, a flat-faced trigger, trigger guard undercut, and an integrated thumb rest, also known as the gas pedal. I don't know what all that means. I do know what the gas pedal is. In fact, Lenny tells me the Gen 6 Glocks are definitely the most refined Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, the Glock store has already received their first shipment of G17, G19, G45s. These are all Gen 6s. But they're gone. Why? Because at the Glock store, it's letting you pre-order these new Glocks, so you'll be one of the very first people to get your hands on them. And as a thank you for your pre-order, you'll get an extra magazine when you receive your new Gen 6 Glock. Here's what you do. Go to glockstore.com, click on the Gen 6 tab at the top of the website, place your pre-order for the Glock or Glocks of your choice. When they ship your new Glock to the FFL of your choice, or you pick it up here in Nashville at the Glock Store retail showroom, the Glock Store will throw in an extra magazine. Now, this is a limited time offer, only for pre-orders and only from our friends at the Glock Store, the #1 source for Glock parts, accessories, and the new Gen 6 Glocks. Visit glockstore.com today. You'll be glad you did. Okay, so news of the day, the SAVE Act. That's a big deal, right? Where you have to show your ID. You have to show your ID in order to vote. Common sense, right? Well, the Democrats hate it, but the people love it. Here's this very energetic guy at CNN, who's the polling guy, Harry Enton, talking about it here in Clip 8.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So something of a non.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, next time I meet Harry Enton, I've never met him, I'm going to ask him this very important question. How many cups of coffee do you drink every morning? That guy is highly caffeinated and quite an interesting fellow. Okay, this is an interesting story. So Donald Trump was in the Oval Office, and talk about transparency. That guy, I mean, how many questions have been asked of him by press in his very first year as president? 10,000, 100,000, I don't know. But, the mainstream regime media still they don't get it. And they come in, they're hostile, and they ask nasty questions. And CNN's Caitlin Collins, who, by the way, got her start at the Daily Caller, right? And is just beyond awful. She asked him a nasty question yesterday. He didn't like it. And here's what happened to her. Clip 2.
What would you say to the survivors who feel
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile in your face. You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth. And you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
Okay, so it's interesting. How do you handle something? Let's say should I give Caitlin Collins some advice on this? I mean, she's 30-something, and she's been at CNN. She's making a couple mil a year. And Trump is right. She never smiles. And it's always, when did you stop beating your wife? That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So here's my advice to Caitlin. Go with the flow. So the president starts talking, right? How do you handle it? Well, do something she's never done. Smile and say, well, thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing our 10 years of knowing each other. And as a member of the press, thank you for letting me come in here. But if you wouldn't mind, would you please answer my question? And then restate. And then just kind of go with smile. Go with the flow. Don't get that mean look on you. All right, when we come back, the one, the only, Phil Klein. We'll talk about the SAVE Act.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there too to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are delighted to be joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by one of the leading legal experts in the country, former Attorney General in the state of Kansas, now a professor of law at Liberty University, an expert on election law, the one, the only Phil Klein. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Michael.
Well, you and I have been working on election integrity projects, I think, for a decade together. You've been leading the way in it. Now there's this bill called the SAVE Act, which is, I guess, passed the House and is in front of the Senate. And tell everybody what the SAVE Act does, why it's so very important.
Well, it's amazing that it's so controversial. What the SAVE Act does is require photo ID and proof of citizenship to vote. That's what it does. In federal elections, now states retain the right to determine how to manage their own state elections. But in elections for federal office, the Constitution gives that role to Congress to determine the time, place, and manner of the elections. And so it would require states to have photo ID and proof of citizenship before somebody could register to vote. And Minnesota doesn't. And we've been talking about that as well.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy that the state law in Minnesota allows one individual to, quote, vouch for up to 8 individuals and say, oh, that's a citizen. And, you know, we've had many cases. E.J. Haas, who's a refugee from Minnesota, Stan, who now lives here in Tennessee, tells us she has been a poll observer in Minneapolis, and she's seen a bunch of, you know, hooded Muslim women from Somalia come in, and one person will vouch. All 8 of those women are American citizens. They don't show any ID. They don't take their hoods off. You can't even see their faces, and they all vote, and they vote the way the bosses tell them to. That absolutely undermines public confidence in these elections, it would seem to me, Phil Klein.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on a couple of things there, Michael, that it's important to understand about Minnesota. First, the vouching law actually goes back to the 1970s. And the legislature has reduced the number of people you can vouch for it under Republican control during that time down to 8. But what has happened recently is Governor Walz and the Democratic Party passed legislation that says driver's license for all. And that law says that you cannot reflect citizenship on the driver's license. In other words, it is blank. It doesn't indicate whether you're a citizen or not. And the driver's license can be used for residency, and then a person can vouch for others in their residency. So one person who is an illegal could get a driver's license and then vouch for others. The other thing that you mentioned, which is real important, illegal immigrants are vulnerable. They're easily manipulated because you can threaten to expose them. Then you combine the Muslim culture, which really doesn't believe probably that in many areas that women should be voting, and you've got the perfect formula for coercion and a way to cover up that coercion to force people to vote for a candidate you tell them to. It's a manufacturing corruption.
You know,
making it legal.
It's interesting because there seems to be a clear interplay. Let's take Minnesota for an example, but it could also be applied to Massachusetts. It could apply to California or Washington State or Oregon. It seems like they've got kind of a three-legged stool for power and fraud. First, election fraud, where illegal immigrants and illegals vote for Democrats to be in power. So secondly, the Democrats get power. Then the Democrats put together fraudulent programs that reward the illegal aliens. It's a 1-2-3 knockout punch to our constitutional republic, it seems to me. Your thoughts on that, Phil Klein?
Well, absolutely. And it's been done in conjunction with the billionaire funders and controllers of the Democratic Party. And that's been building ever since Bush v. Gore back in 2000, when George Soros decided to put billions of dollars into America to reshape America, saying that American so-called exceptionalism was a threat to the world. And they have built a nonprofit network that is funded by foreign billionaires that not only changes election law, it changes the way we manage elections, and also it has created this flow of federal grants in supporting what they're doing. You know, Michael, we've talked about this, and I'm at the point where I think we eliminate nonprofit status. These groups are political to begin with. It's the middle class subsidizing foreign billionaires and political meddling in America. We see this same network ripping off the American taxpayer through these fraudulent schemes and the shifting of power and wealth. It is a coordinated corruption.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the odds, in your view, from what you've seen, that the Senate will pass the SAVE Act and it will become law?
They've got to get rid of the filibuster to do it.
Does John Thune have the intestinal fortitude, I could have used another word, to do that?
Well, we're dealing with issues that really fundamentally alter this nation and how it chooses its leaders. And he should. It's time.
Yeah.
That this have an input to it.
I agree. Okay. Last question. I'm really going to need your help on this. Now, I'm going to get a little personal here. Is that okay? Not for you, but for me. So, I have a midterm in civil procedure.
You're talking to the wrong guy here. It's been a long time since I've taken civil procedure.
So, I have a midterm in civil procedure, which is a great class, but it's like, 100 rules that are obscure but significant. A little secret. Shh, don't tell anybody. I need to cram for it. I have about 8 hours available. And let's just say I've completed a certain percentage of the coursework. Well, what's your advice? And this is for everybody.
Here's the best advice for me.
Yeah, what's your best advice?
This is going back, 1987 for me.
Yeah.
You have more hours than what you think. You just need, in my day, it was a 2-liter bottle of Jolt.
Yeah.
It was a Coca-Cola product, I think, that had double the sugar and double the caffeine.
Is that the secret to this? Because
that's the best I could give you, Mike.
But here's the thing, in law school, civil procedure is very, very detailed, very important. But back in 1934, Congress passed a law that said we need rules for civil lawsuits in federal court. And then the Supreme Court put those rules together. They've been around since 1938. Very important, but oh my goodness. I mean, all the stuff you have to remember. And it just seems to be, growing and growing and growing. You, of course, aced it.
Well, I wouldn't say that. But part of the reason for that, the way that it's developed, civil procedure is aimed at respecting jurisdiction and also fairness and so forth. But part of and respecting federalism, part of the reason that it has grown and grown and grown is because we now have laws that proliferate every aspect of our culture. Because we've essentially been worshiping government. If there's a problem, we want a new law, and we pile laws upon laws upon laws. And as a result, we have shifted, rather than focusing on whether the law should be there, and courts can't do that unless it violates the Constitution. It's really a failure of Congress.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point.
Yeah, and rather than shifting to should we have these laws, what we do is we create procedure, and we act like the procedure results in fairness. But honestly, the proper procedure,
Yes.
The proper procedure to an unjust law is just organized injustice. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Organized injustice.
That's kind of summarizes the reason I'm doing the night law school thing. You just summarize it right there. And I'm understanding the process, but I think both you and I, when we have more time, we ought to think of how we fix that so we can get more justice and less process. Well, cross your fingers. I do okay in the midterm, Phil. Thanks for joining us today. All right. Hey, when we come back, pre-verification from the CEO of National Electric Services. Not good. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
It's simple. No worker should ever be forced to pay money to a union boss just to get or keep a job. That's why hardworking Virginians overwhelmingly support Right to Work and agree that forced unionism is wrong. Unfortunately, Right to Work is under threat from radical state legislators who seek to overturn Right to Work and grant union bosses the power to have workers fired for refusing to pay union dues. Studies show that if they succeed in repealing Virginia's Right to Work law, it would cost the Commonwealth over 200,000 jobs. That's why it's vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to defend Right to Work in Virginia. With the General Assembly now in session, it's vital you make your voice heard today. Go to VirginiaRightToWork.com and demand your legislators and Governor Spanberger oppose forced unionism and protect Right to Work. Defend freedom and Virginia jobs today. Sign your petition at VirginiaRightToWork.com, paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
When you're learning something new, experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at CreeksidePetHotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are joined on our Zoom newsmaker line right now by our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, the winner of the Dow Prize for Best Local Journalism in America, along with yours truly and our executive editor, Christina Poteri, the one, the only Tom Pappard. Welcome, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
Tom, very rarely have I seen a public official blatantly misrepresent the facts as dramatically as the CEO of National Electric Service, Teresa Broyles-Applin, did yesterday. You were watching that news conference, and we'll play the clip here. It's a 2-minute clip. We'll play it in a minute. But when she blatantly misrepresented the facts about the cut in the expenditures of tree trimming under her leadership in a very, she thought was a clever way, how did you react when you heard her say that?
Michael, I was completely stunned. I couldn't believe that somebody would go up on a stage and either be so uninformed about her own company or just bald-faced that she would deny in black and white on a document that you can go to NES Power's website and download, that she would deny they made that $7 million cut and instead claim absurdly that it increased year after year. I mean, I think that she perhaps, as you said, had a moment where she could have said, I'm talking about X instead of Y, but she actually refused to explain the difference there, and she instead insulted the intelligence, and maybe with good reason, of all of the local media reporters in the room who were all trying to understand why and how she was claiming her own report seemed to be inaccurate. I thought it was a disastrous press conference. I think that for once, I agree with Freddie O'Connell. This woman does not know how to communicate during a crisis. I think this woman does not know how to communicate as an executive at all.
Well, she's lost the public trust with the way she handled this particular question. And just so you know, let's say it's a 2-minute clip, so it's a little bit long. But to set it up, she's an accountant, by the way. She's a CPA. She was I think she was employed at a high level by the accounting firm Deloitte Touche before she became the CFO, Chief Financial Officer of National Electric Service, and then became the CEO. There's a terminology here. There's a budget and there's expenditures. A budget for a fiscal year is a line item, tree trimming, that is presented as part of the full budget to the board by the CEO and approved by the board. And the budget then is approved before the fiscal year. Then sometimes the amount of money spent is below or greater than the budget. That's actual expenses. She was asked a question. And we saw this in the 2024 annual report, Tom. It says expenses for tree trimming were cut from 21 million to 13 million and change, the 7.5 million. It's right there in the annual report that she signed. Now, she dissembled and dishonestly answered that question, and I'm going to play it. It's a 2-minute clip, so I'm going to play it in its entirety, and then you and I will explain the dissembling, dishonesty, and pre-verification of Nashville Electric Service CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin. Here goes the clip.
I've been looking at an audit, and I want to just give you a chance to talk about that. The audit talks about did NES do enough when it comes to vegetation management, tree trimming prior to this storm? And it said unforeseen challenges prevented trimming sufficient miles in 2025. There was also a budget cut, $7 million. So did NES do enough things like tree trimming prior to this storm?
Tree trimming has always been an integral part of our power maintenance program. So we've had a pretty aggressive tree trimming program for years. We actually have not cut the budget. The budget has increased every year over the last 4 years. We're spending, I think, $21.6 million this year on tree trimming.
13 million. You're saying you did not cut the budget?
We did not cut the budget for tree trimming. It has increased every year for the last 4 years.
And you think you did enough?
I know we have an active tree trimming program, and I personally have not evaluated the miles we've trimmed, but we have certainly been aggressively trimming trees.
Also from Russell, Tennessee.
Per one of my colleagues, according to your annual reports, though, spent 33% less dollars on contract tree and grass from 2023 to 2025, from 21.28 million down to 14.298 million respectively. So, clarify, I don't really understand how, kind of stemming from that line of questioning, how that represents an increase, right? Unless, can you clarify, is that a different number than what you're talking about?
It is a different number that I'm talking about. The budgeted number was really the question, and we have not cut the budget in tree trimming. It has increased over every year over the last 4 years. Now, I am aware there was a change in vendor a few years ago that I believe probably resulted in more favorable pricing than was previously in place, but the budget itself has not been touched. It's increased.
If you're under budget, why not spend additional money to get more trees trimmed?
There may be a plan to trim more trees. I mean, I don't know that we weren't trimming additional trees in that case.
Last year you were $4 million, $18 million budget, you only spent $14 million on tree trimming. What could that $4 million have done? How many trees could you have trimmed with that didn't get trimmed?
Well, as I've stated, tree trimming is a critical part of what we do, and we do have a very robust vegetation management program.
Okay, so that's not an answer. Tom, the number of prevarications, dissembling, dishonesty, deceptive statements there, I ran out of space to write them all down.
Michael, imagine if your accountant did this. They said, all right, well, you have a $1,000 a month budget for groceries, but you only spent $500. So your budgeted amount has not changed, but you've had a 50% savings. This is accountant speak. To be very nice about it, that does not comport with reality. The fact of the matter is she did not spend the budget. She spent in 2024 $13.88 million and instead apparently had $18 million to spend. And she bragged about this. The company said in its annual report that they spent less than expected on tree trimming, and therefore that drove a 6% decrease in total spending. So for her to talk about budgeted items, okay, Michael, I have a $100,000 budget for action figurines. I'm going to become a collector. I don't actually have $100,000, so I'm not going to spend that, but my budget remains unchanged. It's absurd and insulting.
Well, one reporter said, well, you had a budget cut of $7 million in 2024. Well, instead of saying, that annual report shows that our expenditures went down $7 million in 2024. Yes, that's accurate, but we didn't actually have the budget cut. Now, that is so deceptive and misleading. Then, I think this was a guy from the Tennessean said, and he was referring to the budget year 2025. That ended in June of this year. He says, well, you had a budgeted amount of $18 million, and you only spent $14 million in 2025 on tree trimming. Why didn't you spend that extra $4 million? She did not answer that question, Tom. Oh, we do tree trimming. You cannot trust somebody like that, Tom Papert.
No, the most charitable explanation you could offer is that she has no idea what her own company is doing. And I don't think that's true because of this distinction that we've determined between the budget and the actual spending. I think she does know what her company is doing. But it's interesting, about maybe 10 minutes later in that press conference, she's actually asked about more reporting by the Tennessee Star. The locals don't name us. That's okay. We'll forgive them. But she's asked specifically about a report that came out on November 20th of last year. And in that report, as a level 5.2 issue, the highest it could possibly be, it was a level red reliability concern. The board was notified, as was the CEO, that there were concerns related to vegetation management, specifically that they had not been able to trim enough trees in 2025 due to, quote, unforeseen circumstances. And Broyles Applin asked about this report that's like, what, 2.5 months old? She goes, well, I don't recall that. I don't recall. Which tells me, again, she must not be looking at her company's own documents.
She's not. She's absolutely not. And I think that what I think is she is both arrogant and dishonest. Okay, let's be honest. That's what she is. And I think I don't even think she looked at that annual report she signed in 2024 explaining that expenditures for tree trimming were down $7 million. I think what happened is one of her staffers looked at the budget, right, that had been presented and approved and just talked about that. She is not looking at, and she admitted, well, I don't know exactly how many trees we've been trimming. Well, hello. Isn't that the biggest problem there? Also, notice this element of dissembling. She said, quote, we're spending $21 million this year on tree trimming. Really? The fiscal year began July 1st. That report that you're talking about came out in November, and they said we're way behind. What we need to do is call up NES and get them on the record. How much have you spent in the first 6 months of this fiscal year, the last 6 calendar months of 2025? How much did you spend on tree trimming? Did you go above or below the budget? I'm pretty sure it's below. Tom, stick around. We want to talk more about what the remedies are here for getting rid of this dissembling, dishonest, prevaricating CEO.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com. HEALTHYCELL.com.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
For years, the Europeans have underestimated President Trump time after time. But at every turn, he's been right. On energy, on NATO, on foreign free riding. It's time they pay up. That's why he's cracking down on foreign countries that don't pay their fair share for American medicines, renegotiating trade deals for the prescription drugs we invent. President Trump is ending the foreign freeloading, making Europe pay their fair share.
Paid for by Americans for Limited Government.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. As we speak, it is, we still have, over 10,000 people, customers in Nashville, served by Nashville Electric Service, who are out of power. Tom, we just demonstrated the deceptiveness, the dishonesty, the misrepresentation, the lack of knowledge about a key element of electric power in Nashville by the CEO, National Electric Service CEO, Teresa Broyles-Applin. Others have already called for a change in leadership at NES and a change in leadership in the NES board. Today, right now, I am going to calling on the firing. The board must fire her today because she has lost public confidence and she is not an honest leader. In addition to that, I think after they fire her, the NES board should all resign in shame. Your thoughts, Tom Papert?
I think that would be a good start. The only issue would be, in my mind, that the General Assembly would approve whoever Freddie O'Connell appoints to the board. And so I think what really needs to happen is what Cam Sexton, the Speaker of the Tennessee House of Representatives, and others were talking about earlier this week, and that is the General Assembly at this point should have a say on this board. Perhaps it can be a power-sharing dynamic where a few board members are appointed by the General Assembly, maybe the governor, perhaps the mayor. But I think at this point, the idea that Nashville, a hyper-partisan, far-left city, is able to manage power for 430 plus thousand people, it's not working out. The evidence is clear.
Yeah, the evidence, they can't do it. And they're not honest about it. I mean, they are not honest. What's the role of a municipal government? It's to make cities safe and make sure that the garbage is picked up, make sure the basic utilities are on. They can't do it, and it has to be changed right now. Now, the legal structure here, the Metro Nashville, the Nashville Electric Service charter was established, I think, by state law in 1938. What's interesting about it is it allows the mayor to appoint the board members. The board members are basically the boss of the CEO. They're all, the mayors here have appointed people who have no understanding of electric utilities and may even be conflicted in some areas, by the way. But what's interesting about this is the Tennessee General Assembly can do another law. And I think some of the elements here of unfairness are that about 20% of Nashville Electric Service customers are outside of Metro Nashville. And yet Laverne, the city of Laverne in Rutherford County, they have no representation on this board. I think you got two options here. You could change the structure of the board, I think you're right. Fire all 5 of them right now, and then allow if you want to keep the current configuration of it. Okay, you allow the mayor of Nashville to appoint a couple members to it. The Tennessee General Assembly should be able to appoint several members to it. And in addition to that, the governor and the surrounding mayors in Laverne and Brentwood that are outside, they should be allowed to do it. And then they've got a clean house because nobody there really is on top of it. I mean, all of this business about tree trimming, they had a red flag warning in November and did nothing about it. And if we went in today and we asked Nashville Electric Service the question, how much money have you actually spent in the first 6 months of this fiscal year on tree trimming? The answer would be no answer. Because you asked them that kind of a question, and you gave them a deadline of 6 p.m. yesterday. Did they respond to you?
Well, Michael, they sent us an email to let us know that they were working on a reply and then never emailed us again. So, no, they did not contact us.
Yeah, they don't
by the
want to
way,
talk to us.
You mentioned not the issue back in November. Well, not only did they do nothing, it seems, but they did worse. They actually assigned the issue to 3 vice presidents at NES, one of whom had retired on October 22nd. So, retired on November 1st, and it was announced on October 22nd. So they were assigning this critical issue of not enough tree trimming, inadequate tree trimming, to a guy who is no longer at the company.
Yeah, here's something interesting. Have you noticed that the progressive Democrats are calling out NES in this matter? And the mayor, I think we might be headed towards, hell freezing over. Nashville froze over. Now hell's going to freeze over, because I think the Democrats in the Tennessee General Assembly are actually going to sign on to a bill that's going to change the organizational structure of NES that's led by the Republican leadership. What do you think about that, Tom?
Well, it's actually not too surprising because, look, this is a political disaster for the Democrats, for Freddie O'Connell. I think that's actually very encouraging because it seems to me the Democrat Party, at least in Tennessee, is admitting that they're not good at government. They're just not good at management even. So perhaps it's time to give up and allow the Republicans, the people who know what they're doing, to come in and save the day. I think that fundamentally it reflects this becoming such a politically toxic issue, what you mentioned with Freddie O'Connell and his new O'Connell Commission. I think the mayor specifically knows that he's between a rock and a hard place, and he's got to make this issue go away before it becomes a defining election year campaign topic.
It already is. Tom, thank you for leading the way at the Tennessee Star that all of the local media here in Nashville is slowly following behind. Tom Pappard, thanks for joining us today. Up next, hot yoga with Kyle Casserly. Yeah, we're really changing gears. Back after this.
Ponder this. I was having lunch with a friend who was also interested in learning more about the Catholic faith in order to possibly convert. This friend also shared with me that she hated the President of the United States, Donald Trump. After further discussion, I mentioned to her that you cannot hate another person and be a Christian of any denomination. Hate is incompatible with loving Christ. Hate is not Christian no matter who our neighbor is. Sacred scripture clearly states that as long as we love one another, God remains in us. The inverse is also true. God cannot be in us if we do not love others, and that means everyone. God gave us 2 great commandments, to love Him and to love our neighbor. All other commandments flow from these 2. Loving our neighbor means loving those who especially are difficult to love. Let's start today by loving those around us that are particularly difficult to love. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Do you think workers in Virginia should be forced to pay union dues and fees just to get or keep a job? For 80% of Virginians, the answer is no. That's why Virginia's right-to-work law is so popular. Unfortunately, special interest lobbyists in Richmond are seeking to repeal right-to-work in Virginia. With the General Assembly back, it is vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to oppose forced unionism and protect right-to-work in Virginia. Sign your petition today at virginiarighttowork.com. That's virginiarighttowork.com. The National Right to Work Committee paid for this ad.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio Show.
This is WJFN, Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, and WJFV, Portsmouth.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Hundreds of federal immigration enforcement agents are leaving Minnesota. They're being pulled out immediately.
Border Czar Tom Homan said cooperation from state and local officials led to the administration's decision to reduce the number of immigration enforcement officers in Minnesota. He said 700 of the roughly 3,000 federal officers will be withdrawn. The announcement came after President Trump seemed to signal a willingness to ease tensions in the Minneapolis and St. Paul area, especially since the second fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen by federal officers. Greg Clugston, Washington.
When President Trump speaks of taking over and nationalizing elections, what exactly is he talking about? White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
What the president was referring to is the SAVE Act, which is a huge common sense piece of legislation that Republicans have supported, that President Trump is committed to signing into law during his term. And he spoke with the speaker directly about that yesterday, about the need to get that bill on the floor for a vote, because it provides very common sense measures for voting in our country, such as voter ID.
Which polls show enjoys strong support among Americans of all political stripes. Fulton County, Georgia has filed a motion in federal court looking to retrieve documents from the 2020 election. The FBI seized those documents last week from a warehouse near Atlanta. The Washington Post says a third of its staff across all departments, not just the newsroom, is being laid off. Staffers in the newsroom told they'll get emails with one of two subject lines announcing whether the person's role has or has not been eliminated. And a House committee investigating the Jeffrey Epstein matter will be hearing from Bill and Hillary Clinton later in the month. Wall Street, the Dow is up 350 points, while the Nasdaq is 201 points lower, and the S&P is down 10 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Now that we're finally into the new year, a lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next two mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers. DBA Fellowship Home Loans. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 819382.
Upcoming talks between the U.S. and Iran are still on despite a military engagement. An update from correspondent Ben Thomas.
U.S. Central Command says a Navy jet fighter shot down an Iranian drone after it aggressively approached a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Arabian Sea. The shootdown occurred within hours of another incident in which Iranian forces harassed a U.S.-flagged merchant vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. But in Washington, the White House says talks planned between Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian officials are still on. And President Trump says
they are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something is going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
Ben Thomas, Washington.
Latest round of talks take place on Friday. News and analysis, townhall.com. She is no quitter. A decorated U.S. Olympian will give it a go at the Winter Games despite a recent injury.
Lindsey Vonn is confident she can compete at the upcoming Milan Cortina Winter Olympics despite the left knee injury she sustained in a crash 4 days ago. Vonn says she completely ruptured her ACL, has bone bruising plus meniscal damage. She's had 3 days of physical therapy and consultations with doctors. Vonn has been skiing with a brace on her knee. She says, quote, "It feels stable, it feels strong." Vonn crashed in a downhill in Crans-Montana, Switzerland on Friday and ended up in the safety nets. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
The Small Business Administration says green card holders will not be allowed to apply for SBA loans effective March 1st. The move is the latest by the SBA as it works to tighten loan restrictions and restructure. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, it's time for a change of pace. We talk about politics all the time. I am absolutely delighted to welcome to our microphones right now, here in studio, my good friend for, well, I guess well over a decade, entrepreneur, hot yoga instructor, Kyle Donovan.
Yeah.
Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We've known you a long time.
Yeah.
It's
been a while.
And you know, as I've gotten older, I realized the need to actually, you know, do something to stay in shape. But everything gets a little creakier as you get older. And so I was looking around for some low impact way to do that. And I discovered this thing called hot yoga. First, tell us, what is hot yoga? We'll get into your story here in a bit.
Sure.
What is hot yoga?
It is yoga performed in a hot room. And hence our name, the hot room. We keep it very straightforward.
By the way, just your studio is right in the Cool Springs, Brentwood, Franklin area.
Yep.
If you're quite near the Barnes and Noble.
And Costco.
Yeah.
That's always a good landmark.
And it's called, if you want to sign up, thehotroomtn.com. Thehotroomtn. Very easy to use.
Yeah.
You schedule it, and you know everything's online.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us,
there.
what is hot yoga?
Sure. Hot yoga is, like I said, a hot room. We practice in it.
How hot is it?
We get the room up to about 105 degrees.
I know.
How
humid is it?
40 to 50% humidity. Of course, these cold winter days, it's hard to keep it up that high, but we do our best. But yeah, it is. It's like laying at the beach, you know.
Almost.
Sort of.
So, typically, the class is what, 60 minutes, 90 minutes?
Sure, we have both 60 minutes, 90 minutes. We even have a 75-minute class. So.
Really? Yeah.
So there's.
Describe what the class is like.
Yeah. So our typical series that we have on the schedule, we call it Hot 60, Hot 90. That just denotes the time, of course. And it is a set sequence of yoga postures. So we'll do 26 postures, 2 breathing exercises in that time. The idea is that those postures are always the same. It's your body that changes. So
these are, I know these postures well, having done it. So my story is, I think I did it like for 5 years, and then COVID came out.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to get COVID in a hot yoga studio. So I took 4 years off. And then I went to my doctor and I said, I'm not doing very well losing weight. So what do you like to do? I said, I loved hot yoga. It was great. It was, got movement around, was losing weight, was, staying shape. I said, well, why don't you do it? He said, oh, well, okay. I was worried about that. No, don't worry about it. That's kind of come and gone.
Yeah.
So about a year ago, I came back.
Yeah.
And so these 26 postures, why don't you describe, they're in a certain order, right? To a certain grouping of them, right?
Yeah. To give a little backstory on it, this yoga specifically, it's called Bikram yoga. We just kind of have made it a little...
Bikram. There's a guy named Bikram.
Yes. And if you do research, you're going to find all sorts of... there's some drama in there, but
there's a little bit of drama.
There's a little bit of drama in there, but the history of it was that he worked with his guru in India, and they basically used yoga as a prescription. So you would go to I think it was the yoga school or I forget what they called it, but it was basically like a hospital, a doctor. And you would tell them what was wrong, and they would give you a list of postures, and, you go do this and come back and see us. But they discovered that in these 26 postures, it was kind of like a multivitamin. You got a little bit of everything. It worked every system in the body. So he was like, okay, this is my life work. I have to go share this with people because it brought it to the masses. It didn't, you didn't have to go to India to go to a little yoga school to learn these things. So it's really, it's global. It's all over.
Kind of got started, 70s, 80s?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he brought it to Los Angeles first, and
of course,
story goes that Shirley MacLaine was one of his early students, and he said,
and she's still with us.
Yeah, and that she was like, Bikram, you have to charge for this. Like, people will not value it if you give it away for free, because he just wanted to give it away for free.
Shirley MacLaine actually gave him some good advice.
I know,
wow.
Right? So it's funny how that happens, and I think that's common in the yoga world, where people think like, oh, I have to just do this because it's my calling and I can't make money off of it.
You can't do it unless you have people pay for it, right? Because it costs money to put the heat together and have the room and all that sort of stuff. And it's these 26 postures.
Yeah.
They're kind of in different groups. The first is sort of the warm-up.
Yep.
Where you do warm-up. It's breathing and stretching and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Then you have the standing series. That's the one that people are kind of most familiar with, where you've got you're on one leg and you got you're looking like an arrow. And, well, in my case, a broken arrow. Sometimes.
That's okay. Really, the important part that you're working there is balance, and I think especially as people age, balance is the first to go.
No kidding.
If you don't train it, you lose it. So
see, that's interesting. Then the third part is kind of like a back strengthening,
spine strengthening. Yep.
And then the last part is like stretching type stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, and they're the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. And when you do it, you just sort of say, well, how can I do this a little bit better?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like still in the early stages of all these postures. But it's interesting how you just described it. And this is very characteristic. It's very encouraging. In other words, a lot of people listening say, well, gee, that sounds good. But, all of these skinny minis are going to be in there, and they're going to be looking like arrows, and I'm going to be looking like, the stagecoach with a flat tire. And but it's a very positive situation, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the idea is, like I said, those 26 postures are always the same. It really meets every body type where you are. I always tell people, the setup is the posture. So if you can just get into the setup and get set up and start to even move like a quarter of an inch further, you're getting benefit.
Yeah,
for you.
And if you're listening right now, a lot of people, we have probably an older demographic in this audience. And if you're listening right now and you say, I'd kind of like to try this, just go to thehotroomtn.com. Hotroomtn.com. Thehotroomtn.com. Yeah. Sign up code. Now, what's interesting, if this is your first time, right? You could just go in there and lie on a mat for an hour.
Yeah.
And nobody would say, that's a starting point.
I tell people your goal is just to stay in the room for the first class.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a feat.
Yeah, it is. Recalling that.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about how you got into hot yoga yourself.
Yeah.
And how you became the intrepid entrepreneur. You've been in business now, how long?
It'll be 11 years this July.
11 years?
Yeah. I can't believe it myself when I say it.
11.
I'm not old enough.
You have owned your own business for 11 years. That's a huge accomplishment.
It really is.
When you thought of this, when did you say, hey, I'm going to start a hot yoga room?
Well, so my parents are entrepreneurs. They have a very successful cabinet business here in Franklin, Eagleville.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's
Mark Casserly, architectural woodworking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're amazing. They're top notch. So I had really wonderful role models as far as, I grew up and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know whatever I do, I'm going to own a business.
Where'd you go to high school? You went to
Father Ryan here in Nashville.
And you played girls lacrosse, right?
I did.
I know that because my daughter played girls lacrosse as well.
I was the captain. We won state.
You
Very
won
proud
state.
of that. Yeah.
No kidding.
So I loved it.
Were you offense, defense? What was your?
Offense.
Of course.
Yeah.
Back with Kyle Donovan, entrepreneur and the owner of the Hot Room TN. Back after this.
Ponder this. Are you guilty of the deadly sin of gluttony? Most people think gluttony is overeating or drinking in excess, which definitely fall under this category. But gluttony also includes consuming or doing most anything to an excess. Let's look at other ways in our modern life where we may be guilty of this deadly sin. Ponder these questions. Do you spend too much time at work while compromising your family responsibilities? Do you spend an excess amount of time engaging in entertainment like gaming, movies, or sports? Do you spend too much time in self-obsession like working out too much? Are you spending too much time in social media, scrolling throughout the day? And do you hunger for excessive material things of this world like the latest technology trends, a home that exceeds your needs, or a flashy car? Take a quick personal inventory of your day and make adjustments to address the excesses in your life. Spend more time with God in prayer, and He will help you lead a well-balanced life. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, Our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. In studio, my very good friend, the owner of thehotroomtn.com, a hot yoga business that's been in business for 11 years here in Middle Tennessee. And so Kyle Donovan, tell me, let's go back in time, 12 years ago.
Sure.
What were you doing 12 years ago? And because I know you were a high school champion in women's lacrosse, Father Ryan.
Yeah.
But tell us how you got from there to deciding you're going to open up as a young woman a hot yoga studio.
Yeah. Well, I spent probably a good 8 or so years after high school just bouncing around trying different colleges. I might have gone on a college circuit tour.
So this is interesting. Bouncing around. That's kind of a very common thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because where am I? What's my mission?
Right.
Was that what you were looking for?
Yeah. Like I said before, my family they were entrepreneurs, so
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of the path that I knew. That was what was familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm being honest, like college wasn't like a huge thing we talked about. My mom was like, go to college, get a degree, but she was also super supportive of follow your passion, follow your
Mm-hmm.
dreams. So she, was very supportive every time I'm like, you know what, I think I'm going to change my major. Or I dabbled in a few things, and honestly, I feel like it was still all a great experience because
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to pull those in through my life in other ways. And actually, a little bit of a funny side note, I went to Western Kentucky my first...
a hilltopper.
Yeah. That was my freshman year. And I went to the rec center, and we did a physical assessment. And they were like, reach for your toes. And I'm sitting on the ground, and I reach like way past my toes. And the guy was like, I've never seen anyone with a reach like that. And I'm like, well, I guess I should have seen the writing on the wall. I'm just a flexible person.
Yeah.
Not that you have to be flexible to do yoga, but it was just kind of funny. I'm like, I could have probably saved myself some heartache if I would have seen it on the wall then. So I bounced around trying out different things. And then in 2012 was when I really found hot yoga. And all of a sudden, I went into my first class. It was a 90-minute class.
Where was this class?
It was in Nashville at a studio over in Nashville and Belmead. And I went in there, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm dying. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. But I love this, and I can see myself doing this. And I had no idea how, or, how I would go about ever putting myself up on the podium to teach the class.
So you got to get certifications and all that sort of stuff.
You had to get certification. And honestly, back at that point in my life, I had zero confidence in myself because, like I said, I had kind of bounced around and trying to find my place in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I was working as a bartender.
No kidding.
Yeah. And honestly, this is really kind of a story of just listening to that voice inside and just kind of trusting your gut, because I loved doing that. I really loved the social aspect of it. I loved getting to sit and chat with people and hear about their day and just kind of be a bright spot in their day for some, But also, I'm like, I'm serving people alcohol. It's not really a healthy thing. And I was really, getting into health, and I wanted to do something that was, that helped people be healthier and live better lives. Obviously we need social aspects. So that was one part of it. I got to be part of that. But so I was like, I know I'm supposed to be here for a reason, though. I knew I wasn't supposed to I knew that waiting in that restaurant, something was going to present itself to me. And that was when the studio opened right next door.
So the studio opened next.
Yeah.
A little bit of happenstance here.
Very much so.
Sort of.
And on top of that, I had a customer there that was like, whatever you decide to do, I want to invest in you.
No.
Yeah. So he
No.
was like, I will, whenever you figure out what it is. So
How did
met
that conversation come up?
just over the years of knowing him, and
Yeah.
he knew me, and he just believed in me. And so anyway, I went to teacher training like literally 6 months after I took that first class.
Where did you do the teacher training?
It was a very rigorous 9 weeks in Los Angeles.
Did you pay, with the Bikram fellow did it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you meet him?
Yeah, I mean, I trained under him. I mean, there's
There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people there, so it's not like you were working
So
very
that's
close.
kind of expensive, right? Tell us about that training.
It was about $11,000 or $12,000.
Plus, did that include lodging?
That included everything.
Okay.
So it took place at the Radisson LAX.
So hold on. How did you decide? I'm mid-20s here. I'm gonna become a yoga instructor. I'm gonna invest $11,000 in it and go to LA for 9 weeks. How did you come to that decision?
I just, like I said, that first class, I was like, I can see myself doing this. I have no clue how. And I had some teachers that were encouraging, that were like, you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
And financially, I didn't really know how I was going to pull it off.
Where'd you get the $11,000?
So I saved up some.
Yeah.
I think I put a little bit on a credit card. And then this is actually kind of one of those things. I got hail damage on my car.
Boom.
And I got a check from the insurance company for
Wow,
that.
one
So
benefit from hail
it was,
damage. Right?
I know. I was like, well, it wasn't really that
Okay,
bad.
so
And,
you get in the plane.
yeah. Nope, drove.
You drove?
Yeah, my mom and I packed up my Honda.
Oh, your
and
mom
drove
went with you?
She drove across the country with me and flew back.
Why did you drive and not fly? I'm just curious.
I think it was a little bit
Adventure?
of my coming of age.
Oh,
like
okay.
I broke up with my longtime boyfriend to go do this.
Was this a
It
road
was
trip movie or something? You know?
It could have been.
Could have been.
We could have been.
Kyle and her mom.
Yeah.
See America.
Yeah, she had never done that, so we went. We saw the Grand Canyon together.
You really should have brought your video camera along with that.
I know. It wasn't like I had photo, of course, but video wasn't as popular.
Okay,
on our
so
phones.
you drive into L.A. to do what goes on in L.A. Where do you stay? Where?
At the Radisson LAX.
Oh, at the LAX.
Yeah, so I mean, literally, I'm right next to the airport. Actually, very cool side note, when they flew the Challenger shuttle in, they piggybacked it. It happened right outside my window, so I had a really cool view of that.
but I mean, the Radisson at LAX, there's not a lot to do there except yoga, right?
Yoga, twice a day.
Was it in the Radisson facility?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so twice a day. What time would it start?
We started, our first class was at 8 a.m. And then I think our second one was around 3 or 4. We were in posture clinics.
How long were
the
the classes?
They were 90 minutes, but 90 minutes loosely. I mean, sometimes 90 minutes turned into 2.5 hours. So, you're learning. This is kind of,
okay,
it was
so
like boot camp.
After your first day, how did you feel?
I knew I was supposed to be there.
Okay.
I knew that I was supposed to be there. I was a little bit in for a shock because I didn't really know. I barely knew that Bikram was a man, so he's a very colorful character.
That is an understatement.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
He's a colorful character.
Yeah. So.
Did you say, I'm building my whole life on this colorful character's idea? Did that ever strike your mind at all?
No, I didn't. I guess I didn't put too much thought into it. Obviously, I didn't know what I know now about him.
Right.
And yeah, I was there to learn.
So you did. How many people were in this?
About 450 from all over the world. So it was a very.
How big was the room?
It was the ballroom that they converted.
How many people were in the ballroom at one time?
450.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And they're still doing this kind of thing, aren't they?
Yeah, he's. I don't think he's allowed back in the United States, so I think he's doing it in Thailand now.
And there's the rest of the story.
Exactly. If you're now, you may be curious.
Okay,
if you weren't then.
So there you were.
Oh yeah.
And you finished the 9 weeks. Do they give you a diploma? When you finish it, what happens?
Yes, you get the certificate. So the thing was with the Bikram yoga at the time, especially it was kind of the top notch, hot yoga certification.
Yeah, it was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
And studios were very regimented about you can only teach 90-minute classes, you can only have a Bikram certification.
Mm-hmm.
But the really cool thing was your certification was recognized all over the world. So studios all over the world that were Bikram aligned, would welcome you to come teach. So that was originally my goal, was like, I want to travel around the world and teach.
Okay.
So that was my plan.
Your plan was to become certified and then travel around the world.
Yeah.
Your plan was not to open the hot room.
Yeah.
TN.com.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Because at that time I was like, well, there's already studios in Nashville. I didn't think that there was really space. And Nashville wasn't booming the way it is, now. I mean, it's kind of starting to boom, but.
We will continue. Did you fly back or drive back?
Drove.
Okay. We will continue the story, but when 12 years ago, Kyle Donovan arrived back home with a Bikram certification in hot yoga. Back after this.
This is fun.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
If you've tried everything for cheek redness or breakouts and nothing works, it's not your fault. The real cause might be deeper than you think. Introducing Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream from The Wellness Company, a prescription-strength, dermatologist-developed formula that helps reduce inflammation, balance bacteria, and restore your skin's natural glow. This triple-action cream combines 3 medical-grade ingredients for powerful results. Azelaic acid to unclog pores and fade dark spots, metronidazole to control bacterial imbalance and redness, and ivermectin to calm irritation and eliminate skin parasites that contribute to rosacea and acne. Together, these ingredients work to reduce bumps, swelling, and redness while supporting smoother, healthier, and more radiant skin over time. Formulated and compounded in the United States, this FDA-approved cream is trusted by doctors for visible and lasting results. Experience clear, confident skin with the Wellness Company's Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream. U.S. residents only. Head to twc.health/Godzilla and use code Godzilla to save $20 off, plus free shipping.
Trump 2.0 is in full effect. How do you keep up with all the action? I'll tell you. TrumpNationNews.com is your inside source for the inside scoop. Manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall and Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Continuing the story of certified hot yoga instructor and entrepreneur, owner of The Hot Room TN, thehotroomtn.com. You can go right now. If you're curious and you want to learn about hot yoga, just go to thehotroomtn.com and you can sign up for a class today.
Today, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 1 o'clock. See me there.
1 o'clock, yeah. Actually, what I do is you've got Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
So what I try and do is the show's over at noon.
Yeah.
And then I try to scoot over there and do the 1 o'clock.
Yep.
I don't always do it, but I try to do it. So let's talk a little bit about your journey. So this is like 11 years ago, 12 years ago. You have just completed, you bounced around college a little bit, champion lacrosse player at Father Ryan here in high school. And you've just completed a very intense 9-week training program on how to become a Bikram instructor. You've driven back from Los Angeles to Nashville by yourself?
I came back by myself, yeah.
By yourself? That's quite a trip.
Yeah.
You take the southern route or the northern route?
The southern route.
Yeah. Did you go through El Paso? Or did you go through
I don't think
Amarillo?
I went that far. Amarillo.
Did you stop and get that 66-ounce steak in Amarillo?
I did not, but...
you saw the signs for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you are. You've got this... You've got license to travel and teach. Mm-hmm. And how many Bikram studios were there around the country at that time?
Oh, gosh.
100?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah, maybe... I don't know.
500 to 1,000 or something.
Yeah.
And there's still about that number now, right?
Yeah, and I think even more have probably opened since then.
Okay, so what do you do then?
So I came back, started teaching. And
here in Nashville?
In Nashville, yeah. I was. There were 2 studios that were affiliated, the one in Belmead and then Cool Springs. Mm-hmm. So I was teaching there, came back for about 6 months. And like I said, I was wanting to travel, and I had dreams to do some international travel with it. But anyway, I landed back here for a little bit. And
so what international travel did you want to do at that time?
I really wanted to get an extended position in Ireland.
Oh.
I was really hoping for that.
Irish? Castly Irish?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is why I like you so much. Says Michael Patrick Leahy.
Right.
What do you know what part of Ireland you're
I have no clue. But
we're probably cousins.
I'm sure somewhere along
so.
the way. Yeah. I ended up going to visit there. I did not go to teach. But I sat down onto my laptop one day and just opened up the traveling teachers Bikram page on Facebook, which is where studios would post their openings. And there was one that came open in St. Augustine, Florida. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll go there for a little bit. I had my best friend from when I was a child live there. And I just was like, let me just go try something and go live at the beach. So anyway, I did that. I ended up staying for a little bit over a year.
In St. Augustine, as an instructor. Okay, so tell everybody, what is it, describe how an instructor in a Bikram hot yoga class actually instructs.
Yes, so it's kind of different from maybe what you've seen other places or depicted. We really just come in and we use our words. So we give very clear, concise directions on how to move the body.
It's a very specific dialogue.
It's very specific.
Very
and
specific.
It's almost verbatim. Obviously seasoned teachers have a little bit different way of saying things that, you kind of, I think of it as a, like your cover song. Everybody has their own little spin on it. So, but the idea is that the message is always the same.
And the room, this is people. It's hot. It's 105 degrees, 40% humidity. Mm-hmm. You step in. Everybody's got a mat. Mm-hmm. Or you start off. You lie down on your mat, then you stand up, and you start doing these postures. But there's a big mirror in the front of it.
Yes.
Okay, just and it's not necessarily narcissism central.
No.
It's basically you're watching your posture.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you my little secret here. You know what I do.
What's
I go
that?
I go in the back row, and I watch how you do it.
Yeah.
And I try to do what you do.
Yeah.
But like at 30% or 40%.
Yeah, that's okay. So that class specifically, that's one where the teacher does. We have a class that we offer with music that Mike's talking about. That the teacher does it along with, and we give enough cues to get you in and out of the posture. But a typical class that's not with music, and I know that sounds a little daunting for some people, of like, oh, somebody's just talking to me the whole time. But we are really just up there instructing with our words.
So sometimes you're right. Sometimes the instructor will just kind of walk around.
Yeah.
But the dialogue is very specific, and
Yes.
and if as a student you're saying you are listening,
Mm-hmm.
well, what is it to move? And it's very detailed.
Yeah.
It's very, very detailed. Okay, so did you come back from San Augustine, Florida, and said,
well,
what do I do
so
now?
again, another point in my life where I was like, I just needed to listen to that little voice inside me, and I was like, I think my time here is done. I was, I don't know, 27, 28 at the time, and Nashville was like really up and coming, and I had a little bit of FOMO.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait a second, I just moved away from this city that I really love, and it was like, all these great restaurants were opening.
Mhm.
It just was becoming the it city, and I kind of was like, I don't know if I need to go travel. I want to go experience my city as a young adult. So I moved back. That little voice was just like, it's time to go back.
Yeah.
And I came back and was teaching at the 2 studios. I did get like a little waitressing job on the side because, I mean, let's be honest, you can't really make a full-time living.
Most
at least not living in this city.
Most instructors aren't able to make a living just as instructors,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of our teachers, it may be just a little side gig.
It's a side
or,
gig, yeah.
Some people can make it work, but it just really depends on your lifestyle and what kind of lifestyle you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I moved back here, and I kept driving by this little restaurant, and I was like, I'm going to work at that restaurant. I'm going to work at that restaurant. It wasn't open yet, but I knew I needed to work at that restaurant. And so I'm teaching yoga, and I'm working there a couple days a week, and I'm teaching at these 2 studios, and one of the owners was like, I'm ready to like get out of the business, and wanted to hand it over to me. And so I knew that I needed to come up with some money, though.
Okay, so this is the current studio. Is
this
that right?
is actually the one in Nashville.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she co-owned the one in Nashville, and then she owned exclusively the one in Cool Springs. And so they were like, the other partner, I should say, was ready to get out of it, and they were going to hand it over to me, basically like, hey, we just want a clean break. And I was like, I don't know if I want to have a business partner, and I kind of entertained different ideas, but I also needed to come up with a little bit of capital because the studio needed some improvements,
right.
And I didn't want to take it over without having something. So anyway, I was kind of like exhausting different avenues trying to figure out how to make it work, and I just was kind of came up with, I don't think it's going to work. And I'm waitressing at this restaurant, and we hadn't opened yet. I'm writing on this cool little board that they had that they wrote the specials on. And this woman came in the side door, and she was like, oh my God, that's the cutest, sign there. And I was like, she said, I'm going to have to remember that for my yoga studio. And I was like, oh. I said, well, where's your yoga studio? And she was like, well, I don't have one yet. And I was like, well, I'm a yoga instructor. I teach hot yoga. And she was like, oh, well, I'm wanting to open a hot yoga studio. And so I was like, well, where? And she was like, well, I'm debating. I live in Denver, and I'm either wanting to open one here in Nashville or in Atlanta. And I was like, oh, well, I work at the Beekram studio in Belmead. She goes, well, that's really where I want to be. And I was like, she said, but I don't want to open that close to you guys, obviously. And I just looked at her, and I was like, I have your yoga studio. And I literally got her in touch with the owners.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up buying that studio and taking it over. And I was like, did I just give away like my business? I was like, but it felt right. And so anyway, a couple months went by, and literally, it's like as all things happen, I'm like living at this house. I had a roommate, and I was like, I'm really like done living with this person. And the landlord called and was like, hey, our daughter actually wants to move back into the house. Can you guys be out in 5 days? And I'm like, okay. So at that point, the studio that I was teaching at was like going to, switch ownership. I'm like thinking, okay, I don't know what that's going to look like for my job. Just lost my housing situation. Like something big must be about to shift in my life. Like it's like everything that starts getting pulled out from underneath you. And then like within 5 days, the studio owner here in Cool Springs was like, Kyle, do you want to take this studio over? And
Oh, really?
Like,
this is the current studio
Yeah.
that you...
So anyway, that's how it was.
How long had that studio been operating?
For about 8 years, 7 or 8 years.
Got it.
So anyway, so I didn't really think that was on the table. I just, but I was clearly in a place ready to receive it. Now, it was, it had kind of been in a little bit of, it was a little bit bleeding at the time. She had lost interest in it, and
Well, it takes a lot of focus.
yeah.
I mean, because you do, but you ended up buying it.
So yeah, I was actually, like I said, I was kind of in a position. I lost my house, and I had this, failing studio that was in need of some TLC and some sweat equity for sure.
Real sweat equity.
So I was like, okay, well, moved in with my parents for 6-8 months.
Really?
And was able to live with them rent free and really just pour everything I could into turning the studio around. And then, as I was talking about working at the restaurant years prior, I had that one client that said, "Hey, when you're ready for a business, I'll invest in you." So he gave me a little, seed money to do some improvements and like really just kind of overhaul the space. And
it's a great space, by the way.
Yeah,
it's very comfortable,
it's
very
like
friendly,
small and quaint, but it's perfect. You know, it's like everything has a spot, and it's there's not really any wasted space, which is important in real estate.
So this was like 11 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you've been the owner basically since then.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, if you can listen in the background, the chainsaws are clearing out all of the trees that have fallen down here in Nashville.
Yeah.
That's what that's not a phony sound effect. That's
Nope.
just outside of our studios.
Yeah.
So, when we come back, Kyle Donovan, we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a woman who owns a hot yoga studio, entrepreneur here in Williamson County, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
You've done it for 11 years. What have you learned?
Yeah.
We'll ask that question when we get back. The website, TennesseeStar.com, TennesseeStar.com. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy, back with Kyle Donovan after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at CreeksidePetHotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Let's be real. Losing weight isn't just about looking good. It's about taking back control of your overall health. 42% of adults in America are classified as obese, and obesity is directly linked to severe health issues. If you've tried diets and different workouts with no success, it's not your fault. Big Food and Big Pharma have rigged the system against you with contradicting information, leaving you confused. But there's good news. The Wellness Company just launched Drop, a GLP-1 peptide oral drop formula developed by their chief medical board, specifically designed to support your metabolism, curb cravings, and help you shed weight. That's right. No injections, no risk of the severe side effects we're seeing with Ozempic. Start your weight loss journey today and get $100 off, plus free shipping. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and use promo code Godzilla100. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla100. Take action today for a healthier tomorrow.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Our guest, Kyle Donovan, the owner of thehotroomtn.com, my friend for many years. It's a hot yoga studio here in the Cool Springs area, and it's you've owned it for 11 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. So it's interesting because you have a number of instructors that come in. You don't teach every class.
Nope.
You have what, 5, 6, 7 instructors? How many instructors do you have?
No, there's like over 20 now.
20 instructors?
Yeah. So, and we do offer a variety of classes other than those.
It's not just hot yoga.
Yeah.
You've got Pilates and some other stuff. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Which I'm not venturing into.
Nope, that's all right. That's a whole other episode.
Hot yoga is enough. What is it you look for in an instructor?
That's a great question. Obviously, there's different personalities that there's tons of different personalities that this yoga attracts.
Mm-hmm.
There is, our clients. It's just a very varied group of people. But obviously just people that are genuinely excited to teach it,
Mm-hmm.
that don't get up there. It's not about them. It's really about their students.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what most of us get into.
All of you teachers are great.
Yeah.
They really
I'm
are.
very blessed. I really am.
Of course, the best teacher is you, but they're all great. They're all great. So you've built your base of customers over 11 years.
Yeah.
What's been the secret to that growth?
Memberships. Like having recurring memberships that really invests people in our business. When I first started, it was kind of an a la carte membership option. You could sign up to do an auto pay, but there were a lot of people that were just doing drop-ins or just buying like a 10-pack at a time. But really to have a sustainable business.
So when you say 10-pack, you mean you buy 10 classes. But
yeah.
No, my deal is, because I look at this and I'm trying to say, well, I have a plan, sort of.
Yeah.
To maintain physical health.
Yes, and that's the thing.
And I try to do at least twice a week.
Yeah.
I'd love to do 4 times a week, but business beckons.
Right.
So I pay a monthly fee every year. I sign up for it, and it's a good deal. And so most of your customers now are annual auto pay members. Is that right?
Yeah. And that's the idea. We want you to be consistent because we want you to see results. If you're only coming, once a month, great. I mean, you're still going to get some benefit, but
you need to
do it. Yeah. I always tell people it's kind of like, I don't know, it's not like riding a bike, but if you do it, well, the more consistent you are with it, it doesn't feel like the first time every time.
The term is, how is your practice going?
Yeah.
Right? That's the term. Well, of course, I did 5 years before the pandemic. I was pretty good for me.
Yeah.
Then I took 4 years off.
Yeah.
And now I'm back for like a year. Let me just say, I haven't recovered to the point in terms of my practice. And when you say practice, as an example, you have several, very interesting exercises. Standing bow, for instance, right? Where you try to look like an arrow.
Right.
I was kind of almost looking like an arrow 6 years ago, but now it's like it takes a while to build up.
Yeah.
But it's also something you can lose, a good chunk of it.
If you don't use it.
If you don't use it,
yeah,
exactly. So tell us a little bit about where what's your typical instructor? What's their background? What do they do?
Oh gosh, a lot of it. I mean, it's very different. I have some that are. I have a couple college professors that are teaching for us.
No kidding.
And I have an engineer that works for us. I have retired school teachers. I have current school teachers.
There you
that
go.
Seems to be the theme.
What about
there.
your customers? What's the demographics of your customers?
Yeah, I'd say between like 40 to 60, plus or minus 5 years or so.
Is that
on
the
each side.
age typically?
Yeah,
40
I mean,
to 60?
honestly,
That's interesting.
Yeah, and to be honest, we have probably about 30% men. So I think people have this idea that it's all women in spandex, and there certainly is that.
There is that.
But there's a huge there's a very varied group of people there. So let's see. Then
that surprises me about the demographics.
Yeah,
40 to 60.
Yeah,
being the. Do I win the award for the oldest guy there?
Not quite.
Not quite.
But
pretty close.
You might be up there.
Well, I highly recommend.
And you
it.
inspire people because I mean,
yeah.
honestly, people come in and they're like, if these other people around me are doing this, like I can't. I don't have any excuse.
Well, look, congratulations.
Thank you.
On 11 years of a great business.
Yeah.
TheHotRoomTN.com. If you're listening right now and you are inspired by Kyle Donovan and you want to take a try at it, just go to TheHotRoomTN.com right now. You can sign up for one class. You don't have to sign up for a membership right away.
Yeah.
But just come on in and try out the waters.
Yeah, we have an intro 2 weeks that people can try.
Oh.
So so they can try
Do the intro.
The whole get a good idea of what an ideal schedule looks like for you. So 2 weeks is a good time to try a bunch of things.
Kyle Donovan,
yeah,
owner of TheHotRoomTN.com.
Yes.
Kyle, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Come back again soon.
Yes.
All right, when we come back, if all goes well, Sean Farad, the very best trumpet person in the world, will be with us. And then in halfway through the hour, we'll hear from the former governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker. Back after this.
Is he coming on next? Is he coming on?
Let's face it, losing weight isn't just about looks. It's about taking back control of your health. Tired of confusing diets and injections with harsh side effects? Meet Drop, an oral GLP-1 peptide from the Wellness Company that boosts metabolism, curbs cravings, and helps you burn fat. No needles needed. Just mix it with water and let your body do the rest. Right now, get $100 off and free shipping at twc.health/Godzilla and use the promo code Godzilla100 to save $100. Drop the weight. Take back your life.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, 47 and Sean Frosh, the very best Trump impersonator in the world. Let's start with 47. Mr. President, yesterday you kind of took CNN's Caitlin Collins to the woodshed rhetorically. You're right. She never smiles, and she's always got a gotcha question for you.
Well, she really is a horrible person, and really a horrible person. She's one of the worst people. Yeah, you look at it, one of the worst people, one of the most unhappy people, very unhappy. And as Scott Presler has pointed out on a number of occasions, she's starting to look like him, right? And he says, he says she's beautiful, right? He says that's not a good thing for Caitlin Collins, right? Because he has to constantly say that's not him, that's somebody else. You know, she's making him look bad because Scott is a tremendous person and she's not a tremendous person. You know, he is Scott Presler, she is not Presler, right? So think about it. But she really is a terrible person. She really is a horrible human being. You look at it, she's a stupid person, very stupid. And she's never happy about anything. And as I said, you know, she's always unhappy because she's never telling the truth. And when you lie that much, you look at the left, you look at, for example, Rachel Madcow, she's never happy either. Or a lot of these fake news people. The fake news is very bad, but they're always very upset because they're never telling the truth. And they were very unhappy to see what happened on Monday. I don't know if you know about it, but I get along very well with Punxsutawney Phil. It was Groundhog Day. And we made a tremendous deal. 3 more years of Trump. Can you believe that? The groundhog.
The groundhog looked out and he saw 3 more years of Trump.
That's what happened. Punxsutawney Phil, he's a great guy. And I've gotten along very well with that groundhog for a long time. And so 3 more years of Trump, and we're very happy about it.
But you know, what happened to Caitlin Collins? Because you're right. It's as if Scott Presler and Caitlin Collins were separated at birth. But she doesn't smile. I don't understand. She started out with the Daily Caller. The Daily Caller, which is, you know, a conservative publication. Then she got up with CNN. Why is it that they made Caitlin Collins this big-time anchor at CNN?
Because they love stupid people. They did it with Don Lemon, too, who's been arrested. You look at Don Lemon, and I hear he's looking forward to jail for a number of occasions. You could use your imagination on that, but I heard he's looking forward to jail. I heard Bubba is a big fan. We don't know who Bubba is. I've never talked to him, but Don Lemon and Bubba have a long relationship. But you look at Caitlin Collins and what she did, and, you know, she came from the Daily Caller, and then she did, it's called the woke mind virus. She was infected by the woke mind virus, and now she's
Is there any cure for that?
No, there's no cure. You know, there's a cure, but you have to stop working for CNN and tell the truth. And smile a little bit, you know, and admit that we're winning like nobody's ever seen before, but she's never going to do that.
She can't do that. No, she can't do that.
She's never going to do that.
But, you know, you're talking about Don Lemon. He broke into a church. They disrupted the services. And his allies, his colleagues, prevented parents from getting to their children who were upstairs in Bible Sunday school class. And yet he's kind of prancing around the country.
He loves to prance around. He loves to prance around. Like My Little Pony, he loves to prance around. Think about it. Rainbows and butterflies, right? He's prancing all over the place. There are a lot of things I would like to call him, but we're not going to say that. But I can say that he is a very questionable person, a very stupid person, and I think a very guilty person.
Well, I think
he wants to be guilty, by the way, because he loves Cell Block D. He loves it. He wants to be on that. You know, they were thinking of throwing me in jail. I would have been the king of the prison. I would have ran the whole thing. But, you know, Don Lemon's going to jail, and he may be going to jail. And I think he's very excited about it. I think he's very excited.
Well, he went on, Stephen Colbert. Did you see, by the way, Stephen Colbert's show is going to be over in May. But he's trying to, you know, draw out the last drop of Trump derangement syndrome. He had Don Lemon on the show, and they both were excited about the idea that Don Lemon interrupted a Christian worship service.
Well, they love it, and they want to squeeze all the juice out of that lemon, I can tell you what. But what he did was terrible, and you should not be doing that in a church. You should not be doing that in a church. You shouldn't be doing that anywhere, but you shouldn't be doing it in a church. But you look at Lemon, he really is, I think, you look at the prospects of jail, I think he's about as excited as the Ayatollah is when he's on a goat farm. And you know what I'm talking about.
We know what you're talking about.
You know exactly what people say, sir, what are you talking about? We can't say it, but you have to use your imagination and draw your own conclusions, right? I'm just asking questions. Now everything I say is okay.
Speaking of the Ayatollah, they sent a drone to try and, go after aggressively an American ship. We shot the drone down.
Well, we were thinking of doing one of two things. We were either going to shoot it down, or we were going to send Katie Porter back up to eat it. You know that? Because we did that once. We dropped her on the drug boats, and just like she threw boiling potatoes at her husband, allegedly, right? She threw it on his head, allegedly. Very stupid, very nasty person. But we shot it down. Pistol Pete's a big-time marksman. He shot it down. So
Pistol
Pete did it, yeah.
Hegseth, Secretary of War.
He was showing off. He shot it down.
I've not heard that moniker for him yet, but I think it's a pretty good one, Mr. President.
We love Pistol Pete. He's a great guy, and he's a wonderful shot, and he shot down the drone. But we were going to send one of the big ones, one of the bunker busters, Stacey Abrams, Jiggly Belly Pritzker, Chris Christie. One of them was going to be sent up to eat it, but we didn't have to do that.
Mr. President, you're not going to be participating in the Super Bowl this year. They've got this anti-American, anti-ICE performer called Bad Bunny, who's like, I don't know, he wears a pink dress or something. What are you going to be doing at halftime?
Well, I'm going to be watching the Turning Point USA halftime show with Kid Rock and Brantley Gilbert. We love Brantley Gilbert. BG, they call him BG. He's a tremendous guy. Lee Brice and Gabby Barrett. Beautiful people. Turning Point USA. But, you look at Bad Bunny, I call him Nasty Rabbit. He's a nasty rabbit, I have to say. And I got along very well with Roger Rabbit. Somebody framed him. They say, who framed him? I've been framed, but I got along well with Roger. I got along very well with Bugs Bunny. He played every position on the baseball field. Think about it. Every position. And he kicked the snot out of the Gas House Gorillas. I have to say that, but he's a tremendous bunny. But you look at Bad Bunny, I call him a nasty rabbit. I also got along well with Little Bunny Foo Foo and the Easter Bunny. I got along very well with them. I do very well with them. But not Bad Bunny. He's a bad and a nasty, I call him a nasty rabbit. He's a horrible person.
So here's one thing for you, Mr. President. Ketanji Brown Jackson is on the Supreme Court. For some reason, the Grammy people nominated her for an audiobook award. And there was Bad Bunny saying ICE out, and she was part of the crowd applauding that. What do you make of that? Should she be on the Supreme Court?
No, she shouldn't be on the Supreme Court. First of all, she can't define woman. She says she's not a biologist, which is quite obvious because you can't be that stupid and be a biologist. You look at her, she's very stupid. She has an IQ probably lower than that of a Somali, which means her IQ is under 35.
That's pretty low.
Which is very low. There's a word you could use to describe that, and I've used the same word to describe the governor of Minnesota, but we're not going to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it. We'll just say stupid. We said that word a lot because we talked about Don Lemon. We talked about Caitlin Collins, now Ketanji. So she's a stupid person. And she shouldn't be approving and applauding, and she shouldn't be on the Supreme Court.
Well, there you go. Mr. President, the helicopter's here. You are on your way back to Washington, D.C., but can Sean Frosh stick around?
He can stick around. He's a great guy.
He really is. And the best Trump impersonator in the world. All right. Thank you for joining us, Mr. President. Up next, Sean Frosh, the best Trump impersonator in the world.
folks. John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, TIREGET.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Sean Farash, the very best Trump impersonator in the world, is here in studio with us. Sean, in our next segment, you and I will be interviewing Scott Walker, the former governor of Wisconsin, 3 terms, and who is head of the Young America's Foundation. He's in town. He's going to be with the folks at the Daily Wire, I think at the Music City Center on this coming Friday, to talk about the 250th birthday of the United States of America.
I love it. America 250. It's going to be a fun... There is... As bad as 2020 was, right? You know, we could say questionable elections, right? We don't want to get anybody legally in trouble.
You mean the stolen elections?
Yes. Okay, we can say it. Fine. Boom. Done.
The allegedly stolen elections.
I have been authorized to say it. The stolen election of 2020, but isn't that a blessing? Because then Donald Trump would not be the president in charge of America 250.
God had a plan.
And it might be like somebody like Pence, you know, had a right? So it's Trump. In charge of America 250. I wouldn't want anybody, because they talk about the biggest fireworks show and all this. It's going to be, I think it's going to be amazing. So I'm excited for the whole lead up to it also, America 250. So that's cool that former Governor Walker's in town.
Yeah. So, and we're going to be doing a little bit with the Constitution Bee here and our partnership with Turning Point USA, particularly in Tennessee.
Cool.
So that should be an awful lot of fun. So, are you going to be watching the Super Bowl on Sunday?
I will be watching.
Are you going to watch? You're not going to watch the halftime show.
There's not a chance. I can't. Well, all it took was Turning Point saying Brantley Gilbert displaying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, done. Because Brendan and I, we saw Brantley Gilbert at First Bank earlier last year in October. And he was phenomenal. I love Brantley. I've been a big fan of Brantley Gilbert for a while. So you got Kid Rock, you got him, Lee Brice. So I didn't know Lee Brice was that, conservative, so to speak. Great. He's always been good with veterans, Lee Brice has. And then, unfortunately, and somebody may hold it, I don't know who Gabby Barrett is, but I'm sure she's great. But I'm going to be watching the TP USA halftime show for Brantley Gilbert. I love BG. He's great.
A couple questions for you. Seattle or New England?
Seattle. I have to root for Seattle because I can't stand New England, but I think they're a better team.
Yeah,
they are. I think if Bo Nix is healthy in the AFC Championship game, Denver wins.
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham is just not it.
He's not Bo Nix. Yeah, I'm rooting for New England, but they're properly underdogs.
Yeah.
I like Vrabel.
I like Vrabel too. I think Vrabel's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't root for a team in my division. I just can't do it.
Bad Bunny or Bugs Bunny?
Bugs Bunny. 100%. Yeah, like, for example, if Turning Point USA was not doing its own counter-programming halftime show, I'd put Looney Tunes on.
Yeah.
I'd watch Baseball Bugs, some of the best Bugs Bunny bits.
In that episode, Bugs Bunny played every position.
Yes.
I think, here's a question for
you. One of my dad's favorite, he actually got mad at me because I used to call Kathy Hochul Bugs Bunny.
Oh.
And he said, you cannot ruin Bugs Bunny for me.
Bugs Bunny.
I said, all right, fine. We'll just call her the Botox Bandit of Buffalo. That's where we at. That's where we're at. But that's an all-time great. I think that might be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, that video.
I think you're right.
George Carlin's Baseball versus Football is in the Hall of Fame. I know that, but I think Baseball Bugs is there too.
Okay. Could Bad Bunny play any position on a football team, and could Bugs Bunny play all positions?
Bugs Bunny can play all positions. Bad Bunny, probably not.
No.
Because I'm trying to think of what's the fruitiest position on a football field. And even the kickers.
Yeah.
They are more toxically masculine than what Bad Bunny would allow.
Yeah.
He would not fit in an NFL locker room.
I think that halftime show is going to be a disaster.
It's going to be garbage.
Yeah.
It's going to be, and this is the problem, right? Yeah. Because you have the NFL is partnered with Rock Nation.
Yeah, which is Jay-Z.
And that's why
he gets, under their contract, he gets to pick the show.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's insane. So that's why we've gotten garbage over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Aside from, I'll give him credit, Bruno Mars was good. He was really good in the halftime show. I'm not a Bruno Mars fan. It was a good halftime show. But Rihanna, I think Rihanna did it one year. Was it Rihanna? I don't know, whatever.
I paid no attention to the halftime.
It was horrible. You know who should be the halftime? Kenny Chesney should do the halftime. Guy loves football, country music. He would have a blast. No. It's unbelievable. So, and that brings me to, while we're on the topic of the NFL, Roger Goodell needs to shut his mouth.
So, okay, Roger Rabbit or Roger Goodell?
Roger Rabbit, okay? We'll stay on the Rabbit show. Roger Goodell was like, "Oh, the NFL has more. We have work to do because they didn't hire any black head coaches." Dude, just run the league. Nobody wants to be lectured by the NFL commissioner about diversity. He's not reading the room at all. But the league is finally getting past a lot of the nonsense that it was bogged down with, and he comes out and is like, "Yeah." Well, someone asked him the question, a reporter. What do you have to say? Oh, we have more work to do.
It was ridiculous. But by the way, the owner of the team picks the coach that they think gives them the best chance to
And
win.
they have the Rooney Rule, so they have to interview a black candidate.
Right.
If the black candidate doesn't interview as well as the other candidates, no matter what race they are, okay, because this was just about black candidates. It wasn't about Latino, nothing like. We don't hear anybody sob stories over Ron Rivera not having a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, by the way, and so you have a head coach at Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Todd Bowles. He's black. DeMeco Ryans, Houston Texans. He's black. Aaron Glenn, New York Jets. Shouldn't be the head coach. He's black. I don't care about their race, but it's like, is that what people need to hear? And of course, he got baited into it by the reporter. But he just say we're not focused on that. We're focused on football. That's it.
Now, here's a couple of things with Roger Goodell. He makes $30 million a year. A. B.
How do I get that job?
Well, the owners are happy with him.
Well, yeah, because he's making a ton of money.
Because they're making a ton of money.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But from a public policy point of view, he's a disaster.
Just be quiet and run the league. You're doing a great job running the league on the financial side.
Running the league, yeah, they're making money.
But every time he opens his mouth with these social justice issues or whatever, cultural, it's like foot goes right in mouth.
So here's the thing, though.
Quiet.
They're all influenced by the left-wing sports writers.
Oh, yeah.
And left-wing ESPN. And there's a show that I watch. I kind of like it until they talk about this sort of stuff. Do you ever watch, it's called Golic and Golic. Mike Golic Sr. and Mike Golic Jr. They both played in the NFL.
I remember Mike Golic, and Mike. He was at him in Greenberg, right?
But anyways, usually they have some really good insights about the quarterbacks and the general managers and the head coaches, all that sort of stuff. But oh my gosh, they got off on, we've got to do better. I mean, just shut up, man.
Yeah, well, we do better on what?
Yeah, it's like, look, a coach, if the owner, wants to pick a certain coach because they think they'll do the best job for the team, that's it, man.
By the way, look at the rosters.
Yeah.
Are NFL rosters not diverse? Look at the players. There's a lot of African-American players on these fields.
Yeah,
Fine.
I
they're
think
making more money than the coaches.
Yeah, right.
So who's really doing bad here? It's insane.
All of the head coaching jobs have been filled except for one, which will be filled the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because Clint Kubiak,
who is the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, and they've done great. And he's kind of Sam Darnold, who had a great year. He was terrible with the Jets, terrible with the Panthers. Great last year.
Decent
year
with the Vikings, except when playoff time came.
Yeah, he kind of choked.
He's had an amazing, really good year.
But he's done a great job with Darnold.
Yeah,
and so he's likely to become the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And the number one draft pick there is Fernando Mendoza, who is already, let's just play it, he's a legend now in college football.
Oh, yeah.
With a legendary touchdown run.
Oh, yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, it was quite a run.
It is.
4th and 4, was it?
4th and 4.
Right. But he wound up getting in the end zone.
And if you go on the internet right now, if you go on social media, there are probably thousands of sites where they just play that run in slow motion.
Yeah.
Over and over and
why not?
over
It's a great run.
again. It's great.
Amazing run.
So the Las Vegas Raiders, who what 3-14 this year?
Something like that.
Yeah.
No, I think they finished with this. Yeah, because the same record as the Jets, but they had a weaker schedule. And
Really
that's how
bad.
They had the tiebreaker.
Really bad.
Yeah.
And Pete Carroll, just I think you ought to know when your expiration date as a coach comes.
Yeah, I think he's there.
And I think actually when he left Seattle, the smart thing for old Pete to do would be to fade off into the sunset.
That's it. He had a great career at Seattle.
He had a great career, but this last year...
Yeah, he coached the Jets. He coached the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then USC.
Yeah.
Right?
National championship.
With Matt Leinart.
Yeah.
And then the Seahawks with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Marshawn Lynch. I mean, those were some good teams.
Yeah, really good. And then, of course, you got Bill Belichick, who's...
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know what he's doing. Well, I do know what he's doing,
Wrong,
but
yeah.
it's not really...
He knows what he's doing, but it's not football.
It's not what a football coach should be doing. But, look, he's got another year in North Carolina. He was, 4-8 this year?
Something like
Pretty
that.
pathetic. Because Mac Brown, the guy that they fired to replace him with, was 6-6.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see Belichick do better, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be rough for him.
I think so, too. And it's one of those things where, he's not that good without Brady. So who is the legend? Are the writers onto something? Should he not be in the Hall of Fame? I mean, I don't think so. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But
well, that's a political thing.
That was a political thing.
Yeah, that's
because he's not nice to the media, so they stuck it to him, which is a joke. Total joke.
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. And, it's not good for sports to be politicized.
No.
But they have become.
Yep.
When we come back, a special treat. Former Governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, is here in town, and he will be interviewing him with an exclusive interview about his celebration of the 250th birthday of America here in Nashville on Friday. John Farash and I will interview Scott Walker after this.
of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Sean Farash in studio with us on our Newsmaker line right now, former governor of Wisconsin, head of Young America's Foundation, our friend Scott Walker. Scott, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be with you.
Well, I met you when we won the Dow Prize for Best Local Journalism in Washington, D.C., sponsored by the Young America's Foundation. Thanks so much for that. It was great talking to you then.
Well, thank you. It was an honor. As you know, we had an unbelievable lineup of extraordinary leaders for national and local media. All the stuff, well, we see it playing out in Minneapolis right now. Before all the riots and everything else, the real scandal was the fraud going on there, and that was great conservative citizen-based journalists doing what the corporate media hasn't done for years, and that's really looking into the facts.
Welcome to Nashville. You are here to be part of the Freedom at 250 rally that will be held this Friday from noon to 2 at the Country Music Hall of Fame. You're doing this together with the Daily Wire, and this is it's a year-long series of rallies. Tell us about this to celebrate America's 250th birthday.
Yeah, people are interested. Freedom at 250.org. That's freedom, the word at, freedom at 250.org. And it's a great opportunity, kicking it off right here this weekend in Nashville, but we'll be at the Reagan Ranch in California. We'll be just outside our nation's capital, Mount Vernon, for a special rally later this summer. We'll be up in Philadelphia, right at the Constitution Center overlooking Independence Hall, and places all around the country. But it's really exciting because of our partnership with the Daily Wire. Of course, they're based right there in Nashville. We're thrilled to be there this weekend. on Friday could be more perfect, the 115th anniversary of Ronald Reagan's birth. And he said it so well so many times throughout his public life. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. And so we are going to have a jam-packed hall. The Country Music Hall of Fame will be filled with great speakers, great entertainers, and most importantly, courageous young people.
So you'll be a speaker there this Friday. Michael Knowles will be there. Our friend Robbie Starbuck, who's frequently on this program, will be there as well. Lee Greenwood, of course, and, of course, a great reporter from the Daily Wire. I love saying her name, Mary Margaret Olahan. Yeah,
exactly.
With a name like Michael Patrick Leahy, I gotta love somebody with a name like Mary Margaret Olahan.
Exactly. It just is a perfect name. You added Reagan Conrad. I mean, just a whole wonderful lineup. Plus, throughout the weekend at our Freedom Conference, we even have Scott Jennings on Saturday, Dr. Art Laffer, Daniel DiMartino, who is, if you aren't familiar, it's worth looking him up. He's been speaking for us on campuses all across the country. He came from Venezuela and has been calling for what President Trump did with Maduro recently. He can tell it better than just about anyone out there. So an impressive overall lineup for the conference. But this rally includes all of the college students who are at our Freedom Conference, plus some other folks from over on the campus at Vanderbilt, from Belmont, and from members of the general public. So, again, if people are interested, freedom@250.org. It tells you all about the conference, all about the rally. And then there's literally, by the end of the day, we'll probably be completely filled up. We've got almost 800 seats that to be filled, and we've only got a handful left. So if people are interested, freedom@250.org. And overall, if you're just interested, Young America's Foundation is YAF.org. This weekend is focused on college students, but we have high school programs, we have middle school expeditions, we've got programs all across the country, and we're thrilled to be kicking it off in Nashville, Tennessee.
It seems
by the way, Governor Bill Lee's going to join us, too.
Oh,
so
great. He just
nice lineup. We'll have videos from Marsha Blackburn, Senator Haggerty, maybe a little surprise from someone else who lives in D.C. around 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So a lot of fun things happening.
Speaking of which, Sean Farash is the very best Trump impersonator in the world. I think we might actually hear from him right now at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, I have to say this, former Governor Walker, you do a tremendous job, and you're going to do a tremendous job at the rally. You think about it. You talked about Maduro. We got him out of Venezuela. We busted in. He was in Hello Kitty pajamas. We picked him up. We had the beautiful Delta Force. They're the greatest force in the history of the world, Delta Force. And they scooped him up, and they call him El Gato Gordo. That means the fat cat. But they got him out. He was in Hello Kitty pajamas. They got him out, and we're making Venezuela great again. We're making America great again, and you're doing a tremendous job. That much I can tell you.
That is spectacular.
Threw a little curveball in there for you, Governor Walker.
Exactly. I love that. I just love it.
Thank you.
That is. I think that I will acknowledge it. I've heard many out there. I don't think I've heard any finer than that.
Well, they say nobody does a better job, right? Nobody does a better job, and but you do a tremendous job, and Wisconsin does a tremendous job. You look at the Cheesehead, Green Bay, the frozen tundra. They do a tremendous job up there, too. So a rough season, rough way to end the season. But if I didn't have such beautiful hair, I'd wear a cheesehead all day long. That much I can tell you.
Oh, my.
Governor Walker, by the way, I think you might be available this Friday, so we can work on.
Now I'm being scheduled out. Look at that. There it is.
Let's sign them up. That's right. We've got weddings and bar mitzvahs. We got it all.
Governor Walker, on the 250th anniversary of America, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the future of the country?
Well, as Ben Franklin was attributed with saying, it's a republic if we can keep it. So it's appropriate we're going to be there on Friday, Ronald Reagan's birthday, the anniversary of his birth, because he said repeatedly, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. In fact, that's last address in the Oval Office. He said freedom is fragile. It's frail. We have to protect it. We have to defend it. It doesn't just get passed on to us automatically through the bloodstream. We've got to defend it and fight for it every single day. And he charged us then, and I think it was important back in '89. It's even more important today, that we need to go out. Two specific things. He said, let's go out and teach more American history and let's engage in more shared civic ritual. Boy, we need that now more than ever. Things that bring us together as a nation, like standing for the flag, singing the national anthem. For everybody listening, not only sending kids to our conferences and others like us, but just tell your kids and your grandkids, neighbor kids, nieces, nephews, tell them why we love America. One of the cool things we're doing with Freedom at 250 is putting out to schools all across the country little booklets on each of our founders, starting with George Washington, people like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, these great stalwarts of America, and just overall why we should be proud of our country. That sadly, through CRT and the 1619 Project and all this other crap and garbage that's out there, too many young people somehow have a bad feeling about our country and in turn about our founders. In fact, the poll showed last year, Gallup poll, showed the lowest level of pride in the history of the poll, largely driven by young people. We need to counter that. I'm convinced that we can, but we need to not, as conservatives, we typically talk and think in the head. The left thinks and talks from the heart. We need to talk from our mind, use our brain, but express it in ways that appeal to the heart as well. And our love for America, now there's no better time than now in this 250th anniversary of our great republic.
Governor Walker, I look at the public schools right now, and you see in the news today, yesterday, last week, all of these public schools where the teachers are promoting a left-wing ideology, a hatred for America, and now this whole anti-ICE rally thing has been driven by teachers encouraging and taking out high school students to protest. These are just young kids who don't know anything about America. You had, a terrible situation. A high school in Fremont, Nebraska, they went out and one of the kids got out and tried to stop a car and got hit by a car. You see kids in Detroit doing this, kids in Indianapolis. How can we fight against that and restore knowledge and love for America in public high school students when the teachers' unions are promoting a hatred of America?
Well, it's just outrageous. It's why having funding follow the students and not the systems is so important, giving parents and students and families choices, pushing back on teachers' union, pushing back on the infrastructure. And as I said, in the larger context, talking about these issues in both logical but also emotional appeal. Good example on that very topic. I point out all the time, particularly when I'm speaking at schools and campuses, that none of us would want someone to come into our home without our permission. Nobody would just leave the front door open when we went to bed at night and just not be worried at all about who might come into our house. And if someone did come in, we'd call the police if they didn't leave and expect the police to come and take them away. We wouldn't sit around and wait while they sat in our house hoping that they wouldn't commit some more egregious crime. But that's exactly what a lot of these radicals, including many school teachers, at least public school teachers, are essentially promoting, is this idea that, we just let people into America. It doesn't matter if they don't come in legally. It doesn't matter how they come in. Well, and if you try to enforce the law, well, we'll just wait till they do something worse. Well, no, so many of the people that ICE in particular agents are looking to apprehend are people who frequently commit egregious crimes, particularly against children, sex offenders, others out there. We should absolutely explain that to young people. Let them know, if you don't like the law, I, by the way, think, like I would with my house, I think we should protect our borders and make sure that people coming in here are legal and mean well and are well-intentioned and want to work here and live the American dream, be makers, not takers. But if someone disagrees with that, go to Congress, petition your senator, petition your House member. Don't just go out and think that you can disregard the laws just because somebody told you that they might not want to. And that, to me, is not just in that issue, but it goes to the larger point about understanding America, understanding the promise made on July 4th, 1776, understanding that promise made by our founders, that we would, constantly lead towards a more perfect nation, that all of us are created equal, that God, not the government, gives us our rights. We need to stand up and defend those now more than ever and explain, particularly to college, high school, and even younger, middle school and beyond kids, so they know and appreciate and love the country that so many of us have fought and so many of our great military fought and died for.
You are a 3-term governor of Wisconsin. And now you had Young America's Foundation. Which job has been more fun?
Oh, definitely being with these kids. I love being governor. I love doing the job. But I got to tell you, these kids are such an inspiration. In fact, I sometimes think part of the reason why the board hired me to do this was because they know that while I had 100,000 protesters occupy my Capitol for a month because they didn't like our policies, these kids are meant to feel the same way, particularly on a college campus.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have 100,000 in the classroom, but the left wants them to feel that way. And these kids are so brave. The kids we'll see on Friday and Saturday in Nashville are just dynamic. They're courageous. And that's why this job is probably more important than what I did as governor, because we need to make sure this next generation is ready to defend freedom and pass it on.
We have a final direct message for you from our friend at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, I want to continue to tell you to do a tremendous job. You don't need me to tell you that, because you already do a tremendous job, and you're going to do a lot better job than Bad Bunny will at the Super Bowl. You know, I call him a nasty person. He's a nasty rabbit. I got along very well with Bugs Bunny and Little Bunny Foo-Foo, but not Bad Bunny. So, great job, Governor Walker, and keep up the great work.
God bless you.
Governor Scott Walker. With the rally, the head of the Young America's Foundation, Nashville Freedom at 250 rally, noon Friday to 2 p.m., February 6th. Scott, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back with News Potpourri after this.
Solti, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Solti, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Solti has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Solti for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Solti and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Solti, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Solti
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, folks, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. And News Potpourri, there we go.
There it is.
We got it, yeah. This is the portion of the program where we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and have a touch of
irony.
Well, we've heard from the bucktooth Botox bandit of Buffalo, Governor Kathy Hochul, and she said something really stupid. Would you like to hear it?
Of course.
Here we go.
You'll no longer sell handguns that can be converted into semi-automatic machines able to fire 1,200 rounds a minute. Not here, not in New York.
1,200 rounds a minute, huh?
Okay.
I think, I suppose physically it's possible, but it blows the gun up.
Yeah, and I think making that alteration is already illegal. So what exactly are you banning? This woman, I got to tell you, because you teased the clip, brought it in, introed the clip, right, as like Kathy Hochul made a silly claim or she said something stupid, and it's like that is her baseline. Her baseline is dumb.
Stupid. Yeah.
Trump targeted Walz with some specific wording describing Tim Walz's intelligence or lack thereof. I don't think that word would be an upgrade for the intelligence of Kathy Hochul. That woman is so dumb. Oh, be my apostles with the vaccine back in, 21, 22.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman is just dumb. The only reason she wins races in New York is because she runs as a Democrat. But I've said it before, a mailbox, an inanimate object, if it was listed on a ballot, could win a race in New York if it ran as a Democrat.
Yeah, I'd say so.
A pair of sweaty, smelly gym socks with holes in it, if it ran as a Democrat, could win a race in New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
No kidding about that. Hey, this is so sad. The Washington Post apparently has fired a third of its staffers.
Oh.
And wait for it, they've eliminated their entire sports department.
Okay, good. I'm crying, but not tears of sadness. I'm not one of these people who are like, everyone should lose their job, cancel culture, but like, you're clearly not effective. And that's because you're not telling the truth.
Yeah.
We did a joke with Caitlin Collins, and she's always mad because she's not telling the truth. Trump said the same thing. But people want to read the Washington Post because they want to get accurate information. And you're only going to be able to prop that thing up for so long and be wrong all the time. We always get mad at the TV meteorologist. The meteorologist says it's going to be sunny today and it's raining, fired. But you don't hold the media, you don't hold your politicians to the same standard. So now the Washington Post is finding out, that it does, your credibility matters, and they have none.
Did you watch the Grammys with Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish?
No. But I am thinking of doing a bit today in my Indian headdress about Billie Eilish. So,
I have an update.
Chief Golden Eagle.
So Billie Eilish
Yeah.
went on the Grammys and said, no one on stolen land is illegal.
Right.
She didn't do her research about her own house.
I know. That's the best part. The Tongva tribe.
She's got a $14 million house on land stolen from the Tongva tribe.
Yeah, which I get along very well with them.
Do you really?
Chief Golden Eagle is making a comeback, and we're going to talk about it. We're getting her evicted. I think that the Tongva tribe is like now suing or something. I don't know.
They are they want their land back.
Good. Give it back. It's stolen. Give it back. Ben and Jerry's, by the way, in Vermont.
Yeah.
Stolen land too.
There you go.
Got to give it back to them too. Where's Bernie Sanders? No. You have to give it. Where is he? That cranky communist.
A British reporter went to visit the Billie Eilish mansion, the one on stolen land in L.A. They denied him access to the building.
Yeah, that's a problem because the Europeans are very left.
Yeah.
I get them mad a lot on social media when I take shots at Europe, but they call me a wanker. If you have to resort to that name, you're just not going to win the argument. But if you're not allowing the Brits on there, you got something to hide. That's fine. Your land, your house is on stolen land. I don't care. I think it's conquered land, but you want to make it a thing. Now you got to live up to your own standards. Give it back.
Here's an interesting story. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons came out and said no transgender surgery for anybody under the 19.
It's about time.
It's about time.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a medical association that is not a politicized bunch of, propagandists.
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
That's great news. A good step in the right direction. As that Overton window continues to shift, that's a very good sign.
Weird story. Do you see this? Jill Biden was married to somebody else before she married Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And the rumor was that, he kind of stole her from the first husband. First husband has been now charged with murder.
I heard about this.
You see
Weird.
that?
Wild. That and is that Savannah Guthrie story, too, with the her mom.
Yeah,
that's a very sad story.
Yeah, and by the way, we certainly we wish the best for Savannah Guthrie's mother, but it doesn't look good right now.
No,
I'm sorry to say.
It's very sad.
Very sad. Very sad. The attacker of Ilhan Omar, who, I know, did he attack her? Did he?
No, no.
Or was that?
He sprayed vinegar at her.
Yeah.
Which she seemed to not really care about because she kept going on with the speech. If I got sprayed with an unknown liquid, I'd be in the back, like, make sure this isn't a bioweapon.
Yeah. Are you suggesting it might have been staged?
I'm suggesting there's more to the story than we're being told. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a Middle East story for you. There are 1 million refugees from Syria in Lebanon. Guess what they want? Guess what the Lebanese want?
Oh, I don't know. Asylum.
They want the 1 million Syrians to leave.
Oh, leave.
Because they want to make Lebanon great again.
Oh, well, I guess they're racist then.
Yeah. Hey, China had some bad news. China.
We love it. That's involuntary, by the way. When someone says China, I can't help myself. I have to just jump in. It's involuntary.
The Supreme Court of Panama kicked out a Hong Kong company that was controlling the Panama Canal at each end. That's a big win.
That's a big win. And thank goodness Ketanji Brown Jackson's not on that Supreme Court.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. You talk about stupid people.
Yeah.
Who is stupider? Ketanji Brown Jackson or the bucktooth Botox bandit of Buffalo?
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
That's a coin flip.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with a name for Ketanji Brown Jackson.
We may.
All right. On that note, Sean Farash, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
It was a fun day.
It was a good one. A good one.
And up next, Rob Carson. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. The website, TennesseeStar.com. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door that that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
Flatfeenashville.com, flatfeenashville.com.